Hi, this is Brenda Keenan with KeenanCreations.com, and I had a question from one of my subscribers asking to show some tips for trimming the rubber stamps. The rubber stamps from Stampin' Up! Come already die cut, but I like to trim them a little closer to the image. Some of my stampers at my classes are heavy-handed stampers, and they'll get a little line around the image from pressing too hard. So trimming them a little closer will help avoid that, and it also helps when you're using acrylic blocks. You can see more clearly exactly where you're stamping. For trimming the excess rubber around the stamps, I like to use our craft and rubber scissors. Stampin' Up! Stopped selling these, but if you can find some scissors that have a shorter blade, it'll work a little better for trimming the rubber around the stamps. So this stamp is already on the wood block, and I just want to trim, especially around that little stem right there and around the edges, I just want to trim the excess rubber. I don't really need to trim the foam as much, and it's actually okay if you have a little bit of the foam showing. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I kind of lean it up against the raised part of the image. So that way I'm kind of making sure I'm not cutting the image. I'm just cutting the excess rubber. And then I just follow that around. And you can turn it the other way. And when you get to the middle, when you have like a little point like that, you're just going to have to tug that out. So cut in as much as you can and then pull that out. And see how that foam is showing? That's okay. You don't need to worry about that. So just kind of follow that around. I've never cut into an image, but you do want to be careful until you get kind of comfortable with whatever scissors you're using. These are nice because they do cut right to the point of the scissors. And again, I'm really focusing on cutting the rubber, not the foam. So I don't mind that the foam shows, and you'd actually rather have too much foam under the rubber, so when you press it down, you have a nice solid image when stamping. So here's a new stamp set that I have, and I would just pop them out. It's okay if the paper backing is on or if you've already removed it, that part doesn't matter, but you can just hold it in your hand, scissors in the other hand, and again, this is really easy. You just cut. You don't want to undercut. What that means is, I don't know if you can tell, but this is a straight line from top to bottom. You don't want the foam to be less than the rubber on top. You would rather have the foam be more. If it's less, then there's nothing here to push that image down on the paper, and you might not get a cleanly stamped image. So make sure you hold your scissors straight, not this way. If you angle it this way, you're going to be undercutting. If anything, you want to angle away from the stamp and have the foam show. And just follow that around. Now when you have a little curvy part like that, I just cut to the center and then turn it and then cut the other way. And then tug that off. And again, just keep going. And I wouldn't go, see how it has like a little dip here? I wouldn't really cut into those little dips. Just make a straight edge cut all the way around. I also choose not to put the stickers on the back of my stamps. I just find that they stick best to the acrylic blocks without the stickers. Now here's one that has a round shape to it. I would still make straight choppy cuts. I wouldn't try to make a round cut. So see, just nice straight cuts. That's going to help you to avoid undercutting. So don't worry about these little points here, that doesn't matter. Now I wanted to show you scissors that don't work as well for cutting the rubber stamps. These are our paper snips. This is really designed for cutting paper. The other kind of scissors we have are our craft and rubber scissors that are a lot larger than these. You can use these. I prefer to keep these for my ribbon, so my ribbon has nice clean cut. It will cut the rubber. Just cut nice like that. There, actually that worked pretty well. We'll see how it cuts to the tip I'm just going to put it right here. Actually, these work really great. So we don't sell these anymore, but it looks like these will work just fine. The only thing I would be careful of is you're going to get some adhesive on the blade from trimming your rubber stamps, because there's adhesive between the rubber and the foam. So make sure that you clean these after trimming your stamps, so when you go to cut your ribbon, it still gives you a nice clean cut. But actually these work really well. I hadn't tried them until today because I have the old ones. Now, I had talked a little bit about not undercutting your stamp when you trim it. And what that means is you would have it cut at an angle like this. So the rubber on top would be larger than the foam underneath. And if you have your scissors angled even slightly, that's what's going to happen. And I don't know if I can do it here, but I'm going to try. So see how the foam is cut at an angle like that? So there's not going to be enough foam to press the image on the other side. Now, I did this knowing that I would have enough to trim to correct that, but you want to have just nice straight cuts. But then you can go back in and cut out these little pieces. Now, I wanted to show you when you're trimming something long and skinny like this, you really do not want to trim the foam. You only want to trim the rubber around the image, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is a stem image, and it's one of those images that when it's on the block and you ink it up and you go to stamp it, it wants to wobble. So if you were to trim the foam even closer to the image, it would wobble more. So what you want to do is only trim the rubber. So you can just take your scissors and again just kind of press up to the image, but only trim the rubber. Do not trim the foam or it's going to really wobble. And then this one too. And you would continue around the other side. So another tip I wanted to share is to save the outline rubber that comes in the set. A lot of times people will just throw this part away, but I recommend keeping it in the box. Then you can tell at a glance if you have any stamps that are missing. Thanks for watching. I hope I was able to share some tips with you for trimming your rubber stamps. If you have more questions, you can email me at brenda@KeenanCreations.com, or you can leave a comment below. Thanks so much and have a great day.